What's up, coaches? Wanted to check in with you guys one time here as we're approaching the mid-season point of our time together, and just talk to you guys about a couple of things that have gone really well, and also some things for us to remember as we move forward. One is with the most players, the most teams we've ever had. You guys have been fantastic. Our directors have done a wonderful job communicating with you guys, being on hand for games, helping solve roster issues, all this kind of stuff. So I thank you first and foremost to them, but also to you coaches being flexible. Sometimes after 3 weeks, we get a little frustrated because we feel like, man, our team's not as good as this team, or whatever those situations might be. You guys are doing a good job. Let me encourage you to stay positive, stay engaged. And then again, if you have questions, always go to your director. We're here to help you guys. But also wanted to say thanks for the Memory Verse program and y'all's way of implementing that. Week 1, we saw 68 people, which I was like, okay, that we'll see where that goes, how this moves forward. The next week it dipped. And then the week 3, we had 84 people. So we saw more people that week than ever, which is fantastic, and that's a testimony to you guys. Keep putting that before your players. I know that might be different for you. It's different for us. This is the first time doing it, but I think it's something things to be mindful of as we're moving forward. One is playing time matters. Do not get stuck playing the same kids in the same spots and doing the same rotations. And here's why. What happens is also we go, that's our blitzer, and we use that kid as the blitzer 99% of the time, but the easy one to sub out is the blitzer, or that same kid, because now they don't play offense, or they play offense one series. Don't get stuck like that, because even though you're playing them all the time on defense, most kids, they want to also touch the ball every once in a while. They want to run the routes. They want to be a part of that. So be mindful of it. All right. We saw more of that in week 3, and we also heard some things from parents, and not being too negative or anything, but they're also making us aware of playing time as an issue. So coaches, I want to encourage you to be mindful of that. Also in that same regard, every kid needs to sit at some point. Not saying every kid has to sit the exact same. You don't have to play every kid, 3 minutes and 33 seconds or else you've done something wrong. That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying to you is, if you're sitting one kid 7 times in a game and you're sitting 2 kids 0 times in a game, something has gotten sideways, and we don't want to be like that. Imagine if you were on the other side of it and that was your kid who was being benched 8 times, and while the other 2 kids were never being put on the sideline. So be mindful of it. Put on the perspective of the parents, or the kids that maybe you're struggling with playing time. Put their perspective on, and then say, okay, how can I use them a little bit more? How can I implement them, and also, remove, or sit some of the other kids. Be mindful of playing time. The other thing is physical play. In week 3, I got to be honest with you, physical play it went to a whole different level. We were seeing way more contact than should be allowed. Some of our refs were even allowing it, which we talked to them, told them we want to be mindful of it, because this is flag football, it's not tackle football. You can teach aggressive flag pulling, you can teach aggressive defense without teaching reckless and dangerous. And when guys are ending up on the ground consistently, it's becoming reckless. The other part of this is our blitzers. If you have a rusher and they're running in, they have to be mindful of their contact with the quarterback. Any contact really should be a penalty, but contact, especially as a result of them jumping for the ball, landing and hitting a quarterback and his follow through, going for the ball while it's in the quarterback's hand, all of that stuff is illegal. And it needs to be called every single time. But it also needs to be made sure that it's not coached. Teach your rushers to go for the flags and the flags only. Going for the ball is dangerous, and when quarterbacks get hit, there should be penalties and there will be consequences. So heads up on the thing is trash talk and foul language. Honestly, man, coaches, if you hear foul language, that's a no-fly zone out here. I understand every kid comes from different homes, and even some of us as coaches, maybe you have a different philosophy, but this isn't that kid's home. This is our sports ministry that we're doing and that we're building, and foul language is not going to be a part of it, and consistent trash talk's not going to be either. I get there's a level of competitive banter that takes place, and that's one thing, but that starts crossing a line when it's consistent, when it keeps being directed at certain people, certain kids. When it starts distracting from the game itself, it's a problem. So coaches, be mindful of that. We've told our refs to also be mindful of it. But on that note, if there's a coach that's running his mouth or her mouth, there's a coach that is throwing gas on a spark, that's going to be a whole different conversation. Don't do it, man. I don't care if a kid's running his mouth to you. I don't care if a kid's talking trash about your team. Handle it like an adult. Go talk politely, respectfully to the other coach if you need to, but do not address a player in a negative manner. I saw 2 incidents this week where a coach, an assistant coach, addressed a player that was on the field in a way that I felt was disparaging to that kid. It's not happening. So So watch trash talk and foul language. And last thing is sportsmanship. Be mindful of it as it gets further and further along, especially in our older leagues, as kids get older and older. They do the whole grabbing the flag and then they toss it down in front of the kid's face, or they fake like they're going to give the flag back to the kid and then they toss it, and just stuff like that, man. That is the stuff that accelerates raises the temperature of a game incredibly quick and in ways that we don't want. We want the game to be about competition. We want the game to be about plays, not about stuff like that can be controlled. So be mindful of the sportsmanship. Don't lose the big picture. Keep practicing. Even if you feel like, man, my team's so far behind, what's the point? We're struggling. That's why. Because you want to see your team improve, get better. And so keep practicing. Don't keep canceling practices. Don't do it. You need to practice and keep working on those things. Keep encouraging. Don't scream at kids. If kids make a mistake, don't bench them. Your quarterback throws an interception. Don't rotate to the next quarterback because he threw an interception. You haven't done anything. I'm just being honest. You haven't helped that kid. You've only made it worse. Now the next time they're back at quarterback, they feel even worse. So be mindful of that stuff. Be an encourager. Be a developer. And sometimes that can be tough. So that's why part of it, like why guys like me are here, our directors, we're all guys that have been involved in this stuff for years, and we would love to help you. So if you have questions, you're stumped. How can I get more out of my quarterback? How can I get more out of the play? Do not hesitate to reach out. That's what we're here. That's one of the reasons we're here. I'll print off every single play of my playbook. Doesn't bother me a bit. You can have it. It's 90% of it's probably plays that you all run anyways. So we want to put the plays in your hands that might help you. We want to put the information in your hands. So don't hesitate. Keep encouraging your players and working with them and using them all. Use all your players. Coaches, I gotta be honest, some of y'all have been using like the same 3 players, and then there's 3 players on the field that never get the ball. It's to your detriment for multiple reasons. One, those kids that don't get the ball, they get checked out and they don't get any better. But 2, your opponents can stop 2 kids. They can send 6 kids to guard 2 kids. Use all your players, and everybody becomes a threat, and everybody becomes a weapon, and your team becomes healthier and better. And honestly, you'll just enjoy it more too as a coach, watching those kids participate and be involved. So a lot of good things going on, but I do also want to remind you of those things that matter, because these things do matter. So if you have questions about anything, and don't hesitate to reach out. I want to help you guys, and so we're here for you guys. I'm thankful for you all. So if you don't have anything, if you do have anything, I don't know. But if you do, reach out, and we'll see you Saturday.